there's a major challenge when it comes to feeding of poultry. And my research specifically deals with animal nutrition and trying to come up with a new feed for chicken. Right from the beginning up to where I am and until the end, Cesaam has been very supportive, and I cannot thank them enough. This plant, that is Kenya, it is commonly known as madenge, and the botanical name is Prosopis juliflora. It was introduced in Kenya in early 70s, and it was meant to check on the growth of the desert. But after some time, it became like a punishment to the communities living there, because it would grow anyhowly and widely mostly in the northern part of Kenya or in the dry lands of Kenya. And therefore, this research is trying to evaluate the use of this plant, and specifically we are talking about the pods, because the pods are rich in protein and they are also rich in energy. Now, when you talk about poultry feeding, they compete with man, that is human beings, for energy. Humans use maize as a staple food to make, commonly in Kenya, to make ugali and other food for human beings like uji and others. Now, because there is that competition between humans and poultry, this research is trying to look at a substitute for maize. As I mentioned earlier, this plant is these pods are rich in protein and energy. Now, this research specifically is trying to use two biotechnologies. The first biotechnology is on fermenting the Prosopis pods. As it is, when you ferment this particular pod, from my preliminary studies, it has shown that it reduces the fiber and it also improves on the availability of amino acid. The other technology that I'm employing in this research study is the use of enzymes. The enzyme that I'm using is an enzyme that is commercially available, and this enzyme is called nitrozyme. So I'm trying to come up with different diets employing the two technologies, that is fermenting the pods, and I'm also adding this enzyme to the feeds. Now, in addition to using the two technologies, I'm also replacing maize, because the idea is to replace the maize component in the diet at 3 different levels, at 15%, 30%, and 45%. So the idea is to see the best level to be able to replace maize, and therefore reducing on the need to use maize in poultry diets. So my birds are 3 weeks old, and like I mentioned, I'm using broilers, so I'm feeding them up to 6 weeks, and therefore I'm in the 3rd week. I've just started the 4th week. What I'm doing is that I have now the 10 diets. Diet 1 is the one that is not receiving, the birds are not receiving any Prosopis pods. This one is like a control. Then I will compare with the other treatments that have the different levels, 15, 30, and 45. That is for the enzyme treated and the fermented. So far, I can be able to say there are some differences, or the effect of the two biotechnologies is improving on the birds intake. Although I've not been able to statistically analyze my data, but from the raw data that I'm seeing, I can say that the two technologies have an effect. Then they'll be able to maybe be a source of substitute for the maize, and therefore it is very probable that we are going to see reduction in maize, dependence on maize on this from this particular study. So from this particular study, I'm expecting that because I said this plant grows in the dryland parts of Kenya, and those communities living there, initially they saw this plant as a punishment to them, or as a curse. But from research studies like these ones, it is very important that they are going to be empowered, because from these results we are going to suggest to farmers, maybe to feed millers, and even to the communities that this particular plant is of much use and it can be of much help. So this work, as we are aware, animal nutrition studies are usually very involving in terms of money, in terms of, they are very tedious. So, and this work has costed quite a bit, and I would like to thank my sponsor, that is the Cesaam. It has come very much handy in trying to sponsor my studies, that's the tuition, and also they have gone ahead and they have also given me research funds to be able to carry out this work, right from the money to go and collect the pods, to the money that have been used for lab work, for money to buy the birds, that is the chicken, money to buy the other feed ingredients, my support here. I'm really grateful, and I'm very hopeful that this work will be very important in coming up with ideas that will be able to, number one, improve the living conditions of those people living in the ASALs, and also reduce the dependence on maize. And that way we are going to have a sustainable, because the major issue, especially to do with non-ruminant nutrition, is the feeds. Farmers are crying everywhere because of substandard feed, and this substandard feed is also being brought about because of the high cost of maize and other ingredients. And therefore this study, at the end of it all, it is expected that it will come up with a sustainable use or sustainable option of the use of other ingredients other than maize, so that we can be able to have food security and also contribute to the Vision 2030 and the Big Four agenda for the Kenya.